Hello my fellow freedom builders and welcome back to the channel in a day where I have found some interesting stocks for you on the US market. But today we are not starting with the fundamental picture as I usually do. I thought it would be funny today simply to go through the entire market. So yes, I went through the entire S&P 500 market for you and found 8 stocks that I think could be interesting for the next week or two. I found it purely with technical analysis, also called TA. So what is technical analysis? You might have seen some of my videos, and many people think that technical analysis is some sort of voodoo thing where you're trying to predict the future. Well, I'm not. Maybe some technical analysts do that, but what I do is fairly simple. You might have seen my videos in the playlist called Learn My Strategy. And what I do is actually that I take a look at the stock. And you could say that this one is not trending too much, but I'm mainly looking at the weekly chart and then I'm timing it on the daily chart. And what I want to see is I want to see a RSI, just a simple RSI here, 14 periods. I want that above 50, and I know the RSI is often an indicator that people use to spot oversold or overbought conditions. I'm not really into that. I want trending stocks, and above 50 I say it is trending. But I also want the indicator down here called the CRS, a comparative relative strength indicator. I also want that to be above its 2 moving averages here, meaning that the stock is actually doing better than the overall market. So with that in mind, I have found these 8 stocks, and that is out of 500 stocks. I was only able to find 8 that fulfilled my criteria. Now, what we can do when we have found these is that we can take a look at them on the fundamental part. I'm not going to spend much time on that today, but I am going to show you what I can do very quickly to make sure that they are not complete train wrecks on the fundamental side. Now, when buying these, of course, I'm not giving you buy or sell signals or financial advice in any sort. What I do here is that I provide you with some sort of inspiration to what you could look for in the market. If you like that inspiration, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and all that below the video before we go on. Now, what of course you should consider when you are looking with technical and analyst glasses on here on the graphs is that you could consider the overall market. You could look at, is the S&P 500 going up or down, and so on and so forth. But the thing with technical analysis is that sometimes you overthink things. For instance, in the beginning of 2019, we have had the Q4 where all stocks dropped. And when we came into 2019 in January, I was 100% certain that we had another 20% to go down. But still, in the beginning of January, my method started to give me buy signals. So I started buying. And I was glad I did, because everything just went straight up because Fed said that they might lower the interest during the year, and they did. But that made the stocks go up, and I made something 22-23% last year in the Danish stock market. So sometimes we overthink things a little bit. Again, I'm not trying to predict where these stocks are going. I'm simply trying to find a good heavy train that is set into motion, and then I'm jumping on the train. And when I start to see that it is slowing down, I'm jumping off again. That's pretty much it. I'm not trying to predict. I do not have targets. I do not have anything. There's no magic or voodoo here. We are simply just picking the football team that is winning the most, or picking the train that is running the fastest. So we just pick things in motion, in momentum. Then we jump on and we wait until the momentum starts to decelerate a bit, and then we jump off. That's pretty much how I have been making money for quite a lot of years now. So let's start out and take a quick tour through the 8 stocks. We have Conagra here, and Conagra is for fulfilling my criteria. As you might say this is not much of a trend. No, you might be right here, and you could put some extra technical analysis features in. You could look for tops or bottom support, resistance, and so on. I must admit that I'm not much into support and resistance. Not, at least not when it is just one point like here. I'm not drawing a box here saying, well, it could never break through this one. Because of course it could. But sometimes if we have a lot of tops like here, then I might draw this one out and saying, yeah, well, I would like to see that one broken before I take a trade. But this one, that's quite far up here, so we're down around 31 here, and this resistance does not come into play before just below 40. So another thing with technical analysis is that people, when they start to learn this, they think that these tops and bottoms and resistance and support, that they are some sort of magic things that prices cannot break through. Well, prices don't care, really. The price is just a price. But what sometimes do create these resistance areas, I think I mentioned it in another video just a short while ago, is that there are a lot of people sitting here thinking, oh, I would really have liked to gotten out here, but then the stock dropped and they are feeling like complete fools, and then they're saying to themselves, if I could just get the price up to the place here where I bought it or where I should have exited, then I will sell. And that can trigger some sort of resistance area where a lot of sellers are selling out. And if it breaks up here and retraces, we can see some sort of new support area. But it is not magic, and it does not always hold, but it is created by human psychology. Now, Conagra they are producing packaged food, and actually it's kind of funny because several of the companies today are some sort in the food niche here, in the food sector. So let me just see here, I'll just show you, because in Stockopedia that I use just to give a very quick check of my companies, they have this wonderful stock ranks up here, where I'm primarily looking at the quality. I do like that around 70, but here's 67, that is okay. Momentum and price and news and estimates and so on, that is very high. And the overall stock rank 84, so that is great with me. Today I'll not go very much into the details here. I'm just saying that it is a food company, and you can see it is a consumer defensive. Meaning that it is one of these stocks where you're saying, well, people need this no matter how the market is right now and how viruses are going wild all over the world. So let's move on to the next. And for those of you new here, never seen me before, the software I'm using here is TradingView. They have a wonderful free version. Most of my normal subscription customers in Denmark are using the free version, and you can easily deal with that. They also have some paid versions, but I'll link to that below, also to the Stockopedia, then you can find that for yourself. If you use my link to the Stockopedia down here, I think they're still giving you a 25% discount, something like that. So that might be something you want to take as well. The next one here is Clorox. And Clorox above 50 on the RSI, doing better than the overall market. You could say here, well, they have been in a nice trend. You could draw some sort of resistance here. It has hit a couple of times. Now it has gone up. It took a huge jump up here, and I'm not even sure why. But what they are into, or at least one of the reasons why they're really going up these days, I think at least, is that they have a lot of products around cleaning, so disinfection and so on, and of course that is something that is really hot these days. On the Stockopedia they have a total stock rank of 87 out of 100, so that is great. So Clorox is definitely something you could consider, and my plan is actually, if I have time for it, I will return next week or the week after that, with a little follow-up to see what actually came of these stocks that I mentioned. It's always easy to say a lot of stocks, but it is also it is a bit better to have some follow-up on it. But just so you are absolutely sure about this, it can easily be that these are giving me a sell signal, before the next video. So please don't consider this, as I mentioned before, this is not buy or sell recommendation. And it can easily be that I have sold my stocks. If I were to buy these 8, it can easily be that they have been giving a sell signal a week before I make my next video. So please don't be upset with me if you think that, oh, he could have mentioned that somewhere, because I am considering actually a bit of a subscription product like the one I have in Denmark, but I'm not really sure. But if I do, that is where people are getting my live trading. That's what we do in Denmark. All right. So the next one, Citrix, which is this enterprise service thing, the technology company, I think you know it. They have an 88 in the Stockopedia, and as you can see, they are in a very nice uptrend. They fulfill the criteria down here. You could say that they had broken some sort of trend line. It's the trend line part, well, I like it too, to draw trend lines, but the thing with trend lines and channels and so on is that it is very subjective, and it is very easy always to find trend lines that support your bias, meaning that you could easily see, oh, I think this is a trend line, so this must be support, and I really do like this one to go up, so I think I'll draw a trend line here, and that makes this a break, and so on and so forth. And that might be so, but it's just if you put 100 technical analysis, give them the same chart and ask them to draw their trend line and their channels, well, they pretty much end up with 100 different charts. So what I do like is to make things as objective as possible. I do like for my trend channels to use this linear regression channel tools, that it is a statistical tools that draw the channels themselves. I made a video about it before, so that way I don't have to guess where the channel should be. But Citrix, definitely something you could look into. Some analysts, technical analysts, would like it to get a bit of a retracement before it turns up again, but right now it is a great buy. Then a company I think you have heard of lately, and that is mainly due to all of this illness going around in the world. It is Gilead here, and that is of course because they have been into play, or at least mentioned in the context of some sort of vaccine, something like that. And they are fulfilling my criteria on daily and weekly charts. And the thing with trend following, and this is trend following, what I do is that it is always easy to say, yeah, well, Hans, but aren't you a bit late here? We should have picked it down here, shouldn't we? That's what I did in my last video, where I showed you some of the stocks that were simply very cheap, and they could be bought at a very cheap level compared to their estimated earnings in the future. And the thing with trend following is that it is a bit psychologically hard, in the way that normally we are taught that we need to buy cheap and sell when the price has gone up. When you're a trend follower, you need to buy when the trend has gone up, in the hope or in the expectation that the price will go even further up. So you actually have to buy expensive in the hope to be able to sell at a more expensive price later on. So that is something. Sometimes I get some comments saying, yeah, well, it went up from a 25 to 50. It's already up 100%. How can you buy now? But then again, the history is filled with stocks going from 25 to 50, and then from 50 to 500. So just because something has gone up 100% doesn't mean it cannot go up 1,000% more. I do not have targets here. I simply stay in the stock as long as I have a trend. So Gilead biopharmaceutical, 92% on the Stockopedia, so that's very nice. Then we have General Mills, also in the green zone, in the trend. And I know those of you that are normally trend followers, you would say, well, isn't this a range? Yes, it is, and you could argue that it has not really broken out of the range yet. But then again, what I do here is 100% objective. So when it fulfills my indicator criteria, it is a buy in my book. General Mills are making these branded foods, pet foods, etc. and they are at a 98 on the stock rank in Stockopedia. So a very nice stock. Normally, if you would just scan through stocks here and glancing with just your visuals here, you might not catch this one. But it is doing better than the overall market. It is from the RSI standpoint in an uptrend. So you can consider it. 3 stocks left, and the next one is Hormel Foods. Yet again, a food company, meat, foods, some sort here. 83% on the stock rank, so that is fairly well. Doing better than the market in an uptrend. Again, one of these stocks where you could say that it has been going a bit sideways. If we're looking at the last time it actually made a buy signal, that was down here at a 37, and it made a sell up here at 40.41, and then it hasn't really been in a buy signal just here until around 45.46. So it's always nice when the market has been tumbling like the market has been doing lately to find stocks that have been withstanding this big downturn. And Hormel Foods, of course, they took a downturn along with the others, but they are back at former highs, so no problem there. As I said, 83 on Stockopedia. 2 more, and the next one is also a food company, Kroger, something for supermarkets, I think. They are a 97 on the Stockopedia, and when we're looking at them, doing better than the market, RSI is suggesting an uptrend. Again, you could draw some trend lines here if you wanted to, and you could draw one here, and you could probably also draw one, a million other places. Let me just see here. But this one is actually, if we were to draw our linear regression channel, it is actually following the channel quite well, and that is something to look at, definitely. All right, the last one is a medic pharma company as well, Regenerant Pharmaceuticals. Again, they have a 90 score in the stock rank in Stockopedia. They are in a very nice uptrend. A lot of the pharmaceuticals are doing quite well these days. And you could argue that when you're looking at a trend channel and saying it is a bit in the high end of this trend channel, we would like it to be down here in the low end. And yes, that is absolutely a possibility. But as you can see, you could also have set the same here and say I won't buy in the top in the upper half of the channel, but yet it went up from 980 to now 493 in a time period where the market was pretty much collapsing. So what we are going for here are trending stocks, strong stocks. We are going for stocks that are outperforming the market. And of course that's a bit cheap when the market is collapsing. You just want to find a stock that's going sideways, then it is outperforming the market. But that is the reason why I have the RSI here and my trend channels as well, and a couple of other small tricks. But these are the 8 candidates. Now, as I have said several times in this video, do not run out and buy them. You can track them. You can use all sorts of fundamental analysis. You can put your own short-term technical analysis. You can look at Stockopedia to find out if they have a growing earnings per share or cash flow, or if they're paying out dividends and how much the dividend cover is, and so on and so forth. But what I've done here today is simply a very, very automated technical analysis approach. If you are of the opinion that technical analysis is voodoo and do not work, well, if you are of that opinion, you wouldn't probably not have listened to me 20 minutes talking here. But if you are one of these opinions, then I do have several studies showing that technical analysis is actually very well studying. And from the bankers I'm talking to that used to be 100% fundamental analysts, they are also saying that, of course, today they're looking at some way of timing their their entries, so they're not buying straight into a downtrend. So, well, for what it's worth, I've been doing this for quite a lot of years and have been doing quite well. I'm not beating the market every single year, but one of the reasons why I'm beating the market in the long run, or at least I have been, is that I am staying out of the downtrends and I'm getting out fairly quickly. So I've only lost quite a few percentages this year compared to the 30-40% collapse in the market. I'm only down something like 3 or 4%. So that this strategy is really helping me to do that. So that's it for today. I hope this was some sort of inspiration for you. And if you have questions for my method, for anything, feel free to ask me in the comment sections below. You can also write me on the Facebook page, Building Freedom. You can write me on my email. You can pretty much contact me anywhere. And I am setting up a landing page where you can go in and put your email in, and then you're on my email list. That will be up and running, I hope, in a week or so. So that way I can send out news when new videos are available and so on. Remember to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button and all that down there. And I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.